What's up, guys? It is the 21st of August, a little past 10 p.m. So, I don't even know what the hell I just loaded. Ah, shoot. Now I gotta find the buggy trains. I don't know if I still have the buggy trains. Well, let's see. Hang on a second here. What the hell did I just load? Let's try this again. I'm going to use Mojave sub. So tonight I recently posted a message over, and I emailed my admins and owners of what was going on with me. We're getting closer and closer to version 2, and I got some work to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test some of these trains out. I forget if any of them have bugs or not. I'm going to find out. Man, I forget some of these. It's been a while. No, not Watt Bar. I got one from Watson. Okay, maybe I do have one from Watson. Why do I think Watt Bar comes from somewhere else, though? Hang on a second. Something ain't right there. Oh, I guess Watson? I thought Watson came from... That don't sound right. Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, okay, cool rail driver. That's Watt Bar? Really? That don't make sense. I thought Watson came from the other way. Oh, okay, it don't matter anyways, he's in the wrong spot. Alright. So, let's see what we got here for Mojave subtrains. There's an issue with the RTS software, and I gotta deal with that. Hasbar maybe? That should work. I think that one will work. Ah, this one might work. Alright, will it delete? No, that doesn't delete. Okay. So I guess this one's okay. Problem is, I used to be on the server and I'd be able to... Well, let's... I think Passbar is okay. There's an issue with one of these blocks over here, and I think I might have gone over it before. I'm going to assume this train's okay. What's happening is there's a very small block, and some manifest trains hit that small block, and when they do, it causes an issue. I'm going to see if I can find one that does it. Usually there's about a couple in a cycle. I already did the H ones, didn't I? Hasbar. Intermodals usually aren't. It's usually manifest trains because they got the smaller differences between the. I tried. Oh, I did. I just did it mod bar, didn't I? Did I do Hasbar or mod bar? I can't remember. Ooh, that ain't it. That's definitely not it. That's in the yard. I'm looking at the wrong stuff here. Let's go back to RTS here. I'm looking at the... I gotta stick with the RTS stuff, not load up other ones. So... H fob bar might be one. I don't think so, but... I'm not too sure if they delete. Some of them blow up right away. Of course, I'm not going to find one now that I'm looking. And to find that exact block is kind of difficult to say the least. Let's see, my mod bar. Stockton, maybe? I don't know. I'm not going to find it, unfortunately. Alright. Unfortunately, I'm not going to find it. But it's in here. And it's not a Run 8 issue. It's an RTS software issue. So when they added this extension right down here, what had happened was we had a smaller section. I think I've gone through this whole area to try to find a location that I can actually spawn a train without having where the heck? Okay, it was over there. I thought I actually checked this whole area out. So I'm confused. So forgive me for being a little bit confused here, but got the one signal here. So there's two ways to go around dealing with it. And I don't even know if this live stream is going to make much sense to anybody, quite frankly. But as I was saying before, there is a section of track that's so small that it goes from one truck to the third truck, where the program doesn't count as many as 3 trucks, because it assumes that the smallest block, which used to not be that small, simply would fall onto the next truck. Instead, what happens is, if it spans more than, when it spans more than one, it's not a problem. It's when that truck falls in that block, and then you wind up having the issues. Like the big intermodal cars don't seem to bother it because they seem to avoid it altogether, so it just goes on to the next block. But sometimes the manifest cars will hit it, and when it hits it, because it's so small, it has a hard time calculating between the first and the third. It's basically, it's missing an entire block, and RTS can't account for it. It just does not know how to deal with it. It doesn't know how to calculate properly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to even explain this other than looking into the software, but there's a couple other things that I may deal with tonight. So I got a little bit of time. I don't know, I really don't want to deal with the bugs because I have to go into the design, which really something I'm not too fond of doing. It's something I've been, for as much as possible, trying to avoid it. I've been on the server. Normally I'd be on the server tonight, but things seem to be caught up, so I've been putting it off. This area, what happens is when you spawn a train, okay, the way RTS will work is it needs a certain type of block. For one, it has to be structured in a certain manner. Normally it's usually at the end of the line, not always. It's usually not between track sections, not always. So if you're in a yard, usually I can't spawn trains out of yards because of the way it's not RTS, the way Run 8 codes how it figures out where it's going to put tracks. So if I was to say, let me just spawn this last train here for an example here. Or yet, let me explain it this way. I'll at least explain it, and then from here I can't really teach. I gotta do stuff. You don't want to spawn. Put it this way: you don't want to spawn a train here or try to generate a train here because it's too small, and you can't have it over switches, because once you have it over switches, the way the block works totally changes. It actually reverses direction of how many meters it is down the track section, and then it goes the opposite way on switches. So you can't have a train across a switch. You have to have it within a certain area, or else it just does not properly designate the right blocks. So you also don't want to cross over signal boundaries, although you can go past the signal. You just can't go into the other switches. So, but let me just try and deal with. I don't know about if I want to deal with the crossover here, because I think I've tried it. Let's see how much we're dealing with. So, what I'll do is I'll go into here. I'm pretty sure I've surveyed all this, but I'm going to give you an idea as far as surveying goes anyways. Originally I was going to try this theory over onto, to start debugging it over on the Selkirk route, but I decided not to bother with that. So, what we want to do here, I'm going to go into the Control F1 train maker upper, and I'm looking at, doesn't really matter the power here, freight locals, or sorry, it doesn't, you're not putting engines in it, so you're not making a train. So I think the cement hoppers is the ones we've been using the most because they're the smallest. I believe they're the smallest. I could be wrong on that. There's a, oh, that's covered hopper. Center beams. Again, the cabooses wouldn't be smaller. I think that's them down there. It's been a while. I think it's one of those, but let's see here. I'll just put 10 here just to see how it looks. See if it's the ones. Oh, that's the coal hoppers. Okay, I don't want those. Don't want those. So, let's see here. Move all units. Those are the GONs. Covered hoppers. Center beams. The C14. No, it's not the C14s. Those are your regular hoppers, right? Yeah. Reefers. The wells. The tanks. Well cars, tanks. I don't want those. 52-foot wells. No. I used to use the well cars, but once we started getting into the smaller blocks, what happened was we realized that we were missing blocks. So, got the reefers. I'm not too sure if it's the. Is it these suckers right here? No, those are the gondolas. What the hell? Center beam covered hoppers. Those are just your standard covered hoppers. I got lucky here. Oh, maybe they're not. Maybe it is the C14s. Man, there's a lot of different cars. Actually, that's them right there. I can tell just by the types. The Trinities and all that other crap. I think that's them right there. I hope. What the hell? Oh, we got different types of hoppers now. I don't even know what I have. Okay, hang on a second here. Enough guessing. Enough guessing, I'm gonna just look. So we go into the guts of the actual software. So first we want the car types. There's a lot of car. Oh boy. See, I got the Trinities, and I got Trinity 3281s. So why did it load up? It must have been maybe it was a certain road name that I used. I didn't see that. Okay. Alright then. I'm going to assume it's W, X, and Y, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Oh boy, maybe not. Vehicle, tank, reefer, ballast. Those are your ballast cars, coal. Grain hoppers we're not dealing with, so it's got to be one of the W or the X or the Y. See, I only got 1, 3, and 4 set up, so let's see what some of the names are. So that was the car types. If I go into car names, okay. Okay, so I got to deal with C, yeah, like the C, Trinity CEFX is 1. I think they're all pretty much relatively the same. I can do CSX, but I can use that one. CMX is one I can remember. So Trinity 3281 CMX should do it. Oh, I did Norfolk Western or something. Okay. Alright, so this should be it. I'm almost certain, so I'm just going to go ahead and survey this. Now, this is what we call the surveying, and this is something that you're going to have to do once you get into certain areas anyways. So I'm going to start with the basic 100 car section. You can always change it to fit the sidings, but at least give yourself 100 cars, place it on the track. Let's see how it looks here. And then if it goes too far, then you can always, well, let's see, it didn't even go far enough, so I can go about 100 and... first I want to see what that looks like, so what I do there is I click on it. I go ahead and delete it. I get out of the program. I go back to my notepad. We're not worried about saving anything, so that's okay. Once again, we're going into... we're not going into that. Oh, where they save these things. It's been a while. Auto saves. So you got autosave train, which has saved itself a few minutes ago. Not worried about the info file, you're just going for that. Okay. So this is the guts as far as the actual files. The train ID is not. You don't have to worry about that. What you're worried about as far as the integers. Start nodes is important. So you don't want the start nodes to start popping up, because RTS always uses 0, and start node is something that's totally different as far as when it comes to with direction. Reverse direction, true, that's okay, so everything's okay there. I'm gonna look for the word false. Ah, shoot. Dang it. Thank you. I want to look for the word false. Not finding it, that's a good sign. I think -1. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, see, the train ID's at -1. I think... let's put it a little bit further here. Ah, shoot. Worst part about this is I can't see what's on my keyboard anymore, so I don't know if... Yeah, that's it. It's so far away from me, from the couch to the big screen TV, I can't find it. So let's go down. Can't find a -1. That's a good sign. Does it find a 1? Yeah, it does. See, here's the issue. And this is actually not an RTS issue or a Run 8 issue. This is just the way it is. You see the second, actually, I don't know, oh, it's way down there. Once you get into this block right here, between 5138 and where it changes over to 5366, all of a sudden you have a start node index popping up. And what happens there, RTS, I'm not even sure what the start node index is. I never really quite understood what it means. Like, what the heck's it? I don't know what it is. Honestly, I have never figured out what it is. But somewhere in there, it is popping in that start node index of 1. See, and it did it for a bit, and then it doesn't, which really throws the hell out of everything. Because when you look at where it is, I don't know if it's still here. Let me just spawn it in again. I'll go to the autosave this time. I'll put that autosave right back in. So when you're looking at what the hell is that, I'm looking to see what will cause that, and my only conclusion to that is I see 1s popping up when cars are within sidings. So what I'll do is I'm going to put it on the main this time and see if I get the same result. If I do, then this section is absolutely no good to me for spawning a train. I'm going to turn the lighting on a bit more too. I think I've done this before, but just in case, there we go, there's some light. So I'll go over here and I'll spawn that same train. Do the same thing that I did last time. Delete it. That automatically makes a copy of the autosave backup. So now I go in. I can just go file open because it's not the same file anymore. Oops, I don't want that. So it just updated. I think that's updated. Hopefully that's updated. It should have automatically updated as soon as I hit the delete key. So, and the good thing about that is it remembers that. I didn't even have to go that far, and there it is right there. It's at the beginning. So what'll happen is if you go further down, I bet you they're not even in. I bet you it's not even a 1 node. Oh, it is. See, I don't know what it is. I honestly, at that point, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what it is. All I know is it is a PITA, and it majorly restricts what I'm able to do because I don't know exactly what that is. Like, what does it mean? I don't know. I asked John once what it was about, the programmer, and he explained. I think he mentioned to me. He gave me a really small explanation, or it didn't make sense. I never really got much of an explanation. I didn't want to bug him anymore about it, so I was like, okay, whatever. So, bottom line is, like I said before, I can't. And if you run into those situations, you're unfortunately out of luck. What does work, however, is you go a little further, and I'll go to where the spawn actually is. Now you can go to a main line here, and this is where we actually have the spawn. And I'm not too sure. There's a section further up, so I think we spawned them right around here somewhere. Because I think if you were too far up, you would run into the same issue. So I don't know why I wouldn't have put it up right up to the signal then if that was such an issue. But let me just see anyways, just to be on the safe side. See how it looks. So we'll put it at the switch. Coming up to that signal. If it works, great. Maybe I overlooked it, but let's see how far back it goes. Actually, I want to see how long it is as well. I might have been wanting... Yeah, see, it's 4,179 feet, which really isn't that much, to be honest. But is it going to go past my start point? That's not even at the start point. Let's go a little bit further. I want to make it bigger. So I'm gonna add units to this train. I think it's restricted to about 7,000 feet, give or take. On, let's just put it up to. Let's put it up to 150. Let's see how far that takes us. Oops. Helps if I go back down there. Now we used to be able to pick it, set it up at Bakersfield, but every now and then we'd have the problem. That's 6,269 feet. That's not too bad. So 6,269 feet. I'm wondering if that's going to take us beyond the curve. It really doesn't. So now the question becomes, how long do I want to have it? I'm going to go back there in a minute, but I'm going to go up a little ways. I'm going to go back to my old spawning location. You might have saw that when I first started out. We used to have a spawn right at Bakersfield. I'm trying to avoid that for this. I really want, once AI is able to spawn, actually hopefully use RTS generated spawns, I want him to be able to come into town, not just all of a sudden pop up here. So when I put that here, now I don't even know if this spawn location will work anymore, because the track work might have changed when all this stuff went into play. But you can see 6269, that I don't know what the old one was, but holy crap, that's almost as good as it can get, because once it hits here, that's when it changes. It has nothing to do with the signal as far as I know. I think it's just a switch point. So I'm just going to use this for a minute, just to see. I really don't want to go back to this one, because what happens is if it gets too long, if the train gets too long, there's no way of RTS to control it except to simply use the law of averages and reduce the length of number of waybill calls. What happened was the odd time, and this was actually I say once every few cycles, we would get a train that would go beyond the limit, and it would cause an issue. It would actually pop up a block up here. So you see we got the one there. It's past this. Is it past the switch? I don't think it is. I think I checked on that. Is it past the one switch? No. Looks like it is, but it's not. So here's what I'm going to do. Wow, it's 10:32 already. So instead of going into... Oh shoot, I gotta relinquish my old one. Put that in there. I'll delete that. Now we go in. Back into the notepad. I'll reopen it. We'll see what the new tracks look like. Autosave train. Start past here. It's right at the end, which isn't too bad. I think it's right at the end. Let's see here. Once we get into block 3604, which is really right at the end, that's not bad, actually. Alright, so we know now. We actually know. I don't know what the old one was. Let me see here. Let me pop this up one more time. I hate to want to actually put that there. But let's see here. I'm gonna spawn this the autosave train again. I'll just leave that for a minute. I'm gonna relinquish that. So we know it will do everything but that last car, which isn't too bad. We've done this before. I don't know how the layout. I think it was the layout the same before. I can't remember. I think it was. I don't think things changed that much, but perhaps they did. So now what I'll do is I'll go to here and we'll see how this looks. I would much prefer to use this if we can, but let me go ahead. I'll delete this and hopefully we'll get a better limit, because if I can go without changing code and work around a bug for now, I would much rather work around the bug than have to try to reprogram everything. And I said tonight I'd probably be going into it, but I really don't. It takes way too much time for me to go in and save or change all the things around. So autosave the train. I'll go to the XML one time. We'll see how this particular block is. I got a funny feeling that it isn't going to work. Now we're not even we're like 3/4 of the way and we're already getting into the block. So we know that doesn't work there. Ah, crap. I didn't want to do that. What the heck did I just do? I just threw something into my notepad. Oh, man. I have no idea what I just did. But I lost notepad for a second. I think I threw something like the Weather Network or something down there. What is that? So I lost my notepad somewhere. Okay. I grabbed one of these and they just went. I don't know what I did. Okay. I didn't mean to grab that. So, yeah, whatever. Okay, so here we go. Never mind that. Let's go back into the program for a second. So we know that doesn't work, so forget that idea. This is why I start the spawn right around this area. And if I was to... Oh, man. What do I want to do? Spawn one of the... Let me just check the trains over on the Mojave again. And I believe I have the spawn here. RTS, that's the hides. Make sure I got the right one. I don't know if I called it RTS with something temporary storage. No, that ain't it. That's the old Kern returns, the old hides we used to have. Oak Creek inbound. Dang, I forget what I called it. BNSF West. Oh, there it is. I see it right there. I think that's it right there. BNSF. I saw it. I lost it. BNS from Fresno. It's one of these. You see, I got a bunch of them that I did. December, and then I went about a week later, because that's December, right around Christmas of 2015 off into 2016 is when I did the surveys. So eventually I had to find a new survey, but if I did BNSF from Fresno, that would spawn that there, if it works. Which I guess it did. Is that BNSF from Fresno? I guess it is. Oh, that's a much bigger train too. I don't know how long that one is, but it didn't work, I know that. Well, let's see it. Let's see how long it is. So that's 8,360. I did, blah, that's a 200 car train, okay. I don't know if I need 8,360, so maybe that's where I'm thinking about going a different route with this. Actually, you know something? Let me spawn that again, because I think that just might work. Something tells me it's not going to work, because no, I already checked that. We know that there's an issue. So let's okay, so I have it popping up around here. That's not where the spawn is. Wish I remember the actual name. BNSF from Fresno too? It's BNSF. Might be 2, or 2B or 2C, who knows? That's starting to look like it. That could be it, actually. BNSF from Fresno 2. Yeah, see, if right here is where the issue is, so unfortunately I don't think there's any way around it. I think I've exhausted all the options. Because the issue isn't going to be that one node that comes up, it's going to be that short block, and I'm going to have to deal with it program-wise. So I got no way around it. I can't use this block, I can't use any of those blocks, because they're not long enough. The only thing I can do is go back to the original, and I don't really want to do that. I could possibly have a train. No, see, I can't spawn in these switches either. I think I've tried here. See, the blocks get too small here. And then once you're in here, then see, everything gets too small. The only possibility, and I'm just thinking of this out loud now, is if worst case scenario, maybe I can run one off the opposite main. Never thought of that. Oh, of course I have a switch right there. That always helps. But at least it's something. I'm just not too fond of running a train. I mean, if a dispatcher knows trains are going to spawn right there, that it's okay. I just don't know how the auto spawning is going to work. So let's try spawning one right here. See how it goes. I don't think I've ever tried it on this main before. The only problem I don't like that. Because how am I, then I gotta have trains that actually do work Bakersfield it's stupid. You have a train that works Bakersfield, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. A dispatcher wouldn't put a train down there because, number one, I don't even have a crossover. Oh, I do there, but there's just no way. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I mean, I'll take a look at it, but If anything, I would rather go back to, if I'm gonna work around it, I'll you know, I can see. I wonder if I still have the old one. Let me see this here. And of course the issue is this block. Or I can try to go up one more. Never thought of that. But see, then you're dealing with switches again. You're dealing with switches, you're dealing with issues. Yeah, see, then by then you're having it all the way out to Bakersfield. That's stupid. Unfortunately, there's just no easy answers to that. But let me try it anyways. Worst case scenario, what I can do, I'm just trying to think of what else can. The only other thing that happens is the train that comes in from Fresno is not such a big deal because it's going to be smaller, so I can have it spawn further back. I just think it's going to be complicated. But let's see. I'm just curious. So we want to make sure it's before the point. I'll put that one in there for now. Let's see, take a look how far this one goes back. I just want to try this one for sure. Actually, I should have added more to it. Do I want to go all 200? I probably could. Like I said before, though, I don't like running trains on that track. If he's got to work, let me see. If he's got to work Bakersfield, how bad is it? He's got to go all the way up here, pack all the way down there. I don't know. It just seems stupid to me. But let's see. I'm going to take that out for a second. We got 50 more cars. Add unit to the train. Let's see how far we are anyways with 200. Okay. Yeah, we only have, what, the Va bar is the only train that's working, and then you got that Fresno train that goes in, so it's not too bad. 120 is going to be too much. Oh, not by much, though. Or 200, I should say. It's past the signal, but I don't know if that may or may not be an issue. I'm not too worried about it. We can always shorten it a bit. It's got way, you know, it's got plenty of length, so. As far as short blocks, I think it's part of the old track configuration. I don't know if I ever tried to properly check it out, so let's just see. And if I can get around it, then I will do it. Oops, that's not what I want. I'll go back into here. I don't want activities to. Oh, yes, I do. I'll save train. Alright, so we'll do it past here. Hey, what happened to my my Control F? Oh, it disappeared when. Was it -1 or? Yeah, I think that's it. -1 or 1. Ooh. I can't remember if it was -1 or 1. I always get confused. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. Are you serious? Did I do it right? Can't see yet. Holy crap. Well, now I gotta think of the dispatching. Okay, hang on a second here. Oh, shoot. I don't see anything. I see directional here, but oh man, see. Well, directional he could cross over because directional is supposedly only this section here. I think. I think after that it becomes unidirectional. That's the crossover, right? Like if I put a signal here, I should get a light. Yeah. And I cross. Oh, I can't cross over. Oh. That just goes right into the Amtrak. Maybe that's why I never put one there. I don't. Damn it. Oh. I really wanted to. Where's the old one? One more look here. Let's see if I can find the old spawn for this. No, it ain't gonna matter because it was the same issue before. Once the track configuration gets screwy. Okay, so let's forget about this. I got about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go into the program for a minute. So it's probably the first time I've actually shown the code, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I'm getting out of here. I'll show you the spaghetti code. I ain't gonna have too much time tonight anyways, so I'm not gonna do anything major, but I am gonna go through the code just to see what I'm up against, because honestly I gotta fix it. I can't procrastinate against it, even if I have to go through and redesign the whole thing, and unfortunately that's where it's heading. Okay, here, let's see here. So the program I use is just basic. And this is the programming interface. And we got the code. So we got a lot of hard coding going on. This is basically what the code looks like, so if you want to copy my code, there it is. If you want to pause it on YouTube, good luck. A lot of it is hard-coded. There's a lot of things that I want to add to it to get the car types in. Car types isn't the end of the world, but I know there's going to be stuff. Let me just take a look at what's going on, if there's any updates as far as... I don't want to go there. Just announcing my live stream from earlier. Just want to see if there's any more updates at Run 8 Studios. I don't think there is. Press releases, yeah, the last one was July 1st. But when we start seeing new car types coming out, what happens is it makes it very difficult for me to really do much more. So I have a few goals with the software. I've limited myself to various limits as far as certain variables, but I also have a lot of there's basically what the screen looks like when it prints it and the commands, and then there's go subroutines. If you ever use basic, it's just like basic, but the generate phase. See, then you're looking at hard codes, and you're adding all these hard code values, and I really want to get out of that eventually. But it's one of the things. So I got like a dice roll to mix things up, and then the various engine types. These are gone. I've moved some of those old programs out. They're all old ones that I used to have. So I still have some of the old codes, but let me just take a look at the generating side of things if I can. I think it's generate. Okay, that's a generate routine. So it looks for the file name. No, that's not where I want to be. Okay, yeah. See, here's where the command everything changes. I have a next block, current block. I don't know current truck. Added the following. Oh, okay. So I added the current truck. I put 10 back, so that it appears to be a bit back of the signal to start the block. What I did there was I added it so that it goes 10 meters behind the signal, so that you can actually see the signal instead of being right at the end of the block. That's why I put that extra code in there. So, if not, the next truck is less than the length of the span of the current block, then the value used to determine that no track change has taken place. Next block would equal current block, and then I forget some of this coding, to be quite honest. It's been a while. Travel equals next truck. However, if the value used to determine that the block has changed between the trucks, in other words, there's a different change in the block, then the next block, I'm trying to think how that works. Next block would equal the current block plus 1. This is the issue right there. So what that's saying is, if it detects that the block has changed, and I call it block, block is actually what I use for the term for the track section. If it detects that it has changed, it automatically assumes that it's the next block is simply what is currently on plus 1. In other words, it's determining that it's automatically assuming that the next block is going to be the actual physical block. But what happens is, in the case of a very small block, what often happens is you could have a truck, you could have the A truck on, let's call them three track sections, and we call them blocks. I call them blocks, even though they're not like signal blocks. I never call them track sections. I've always referred to them as blocks for some reason. So, using that terminology, let's assume A truck is on block 1, and it determines that it has changed for block 2. Well, and basically how it determines that change is that it looks into how big the block is, and if it's over that, it goes to the next block, if that makes sense. I have to go into that code just to double check. I gotta feed it off, but this is where the statement is. So next truck equals next truck. See, you see right here it says travel equals next truck. So how far the in between two trucks equals the next truck, or whatever the next truck is, it'll be the next truck. But here it says next truck equals next truck minus length of the span of the current block. I have to go into a lot of that and try to remember exactly what I did. You can see some of the changes I added here. I used a new configuration here that would eliminate the need for power. So what happened was I put a new configuration in that was to allow us to spawn trains that were just cars and didn't have to have an engine. So that was code that I added in there. Added a condition for the entire first unit of the train not to be generated if number of units were greater than 1. Let me see that again. Added a condition for the entire, these are comments. Added a condition for the entire first unit of the train not to be generated if the number of units were greater than 1. That almost doesn't make sense. Added a condition for the entire first unit of the train not to be generated if the number of units were greater, wasn't greater. Oh, okay, I was reading it wrong. So in other words, what happened was, if the number of units are greater or equals 0, then the config was X. Otherwise, it would go ahead. Then otherwise, it said, okay, as long as it was greater than 0 would do it, but if it was 0, it would put the configuration to XXX. And that configuration would determine, this type equals 4. This is the setting for the engine. Yeah, I gotta check that here. Next block is equal. Is that just for the engine? Generate section. Oh wow, I got a lot of spaghetti code here to go through, because then that's to generate the second unit, generate the cars. Oh yeah, I got lots of wonderful spaghetti code. I just realized that now. So I'm looking at the units, but I gotta deal with settings for the engine. I don't look forward to this. Because I'm basically repeating the same code, and then I'm gonna have to go in, I'm gonna have to do it, so perhaps I'm gonna have to redesign some of this. It's not a big program, so it's not the end of the world. It's just to try to get it to do what I want to do is going to be a challenge at best. And you can see everything there. It puts in the particular headers. I have variable limits on certain things. The last beta was actually April 26th of 2016. There's a few other things that I want to do. I mean, honestly, maybe I should start by cleaning up the program a little bit. This integer function is, I can get rid of it. We don't use it. So maybe I'll take a look at possibly changing that program, or that routine, getting that out of there, and then at least I'm getting rid of some of my code. There's other code in here too, I think I have somewhere. I don't know where it is exactly. I had some old code and some old ideas. Yeah, here we go. Look at this side. Destination. What is that? I don't even remember this code that's so old. Report number. If destination. Whoa. I have no idea what that is. So we got the output copy. Have a nice day. Blah blah blah. So yeah, I've definitely, what I think I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through, now that I've spent the time, and hopefully you found this somewhat interesting. Unfortunately, programming can get very boring, but that's the gist of, I'm going to end this tonight anyways. I'm not going to add any comments or any changes to the program, otherwise I'd have to assemble it, do everything else to it. I already got out of the program, did I? Oh, okay, I didn't remember doing that. So, but this is what it's all about, is being able to get this in the format that Run 8 recognizes it. And the scary thing about this is I don't know if Run 8's going to change this when it goes on to version 2. I don't think it will, but I don't know. You never know. It might all of a sudden start adding new fields, or maybe it'll use a different file format, because it is being rewritten. As far as I know, version 2 is, so will they use a different file format than me? I could potentially reach out and try to find out, but I don't know if I'm going to find out anything, to be quite honest, because they're not telling me anything. So, at least the last I've checked. So yeah, that's about it for now. I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to end this. But yeah, just the bottom line is, it's all about getting that. It's all about getting it to work for Run 8. the way it wants it to work. And I don't know, maybe there's going to be some changes in version 2 that might make my life easier to program it easier. I don't know. It's possible. Who knows? I really don't know. But when you're looking into the RTS code when it's going into this, for example, I'm sure you've seen what this looks like when you're generating. So you go to generate and you're typing in. So it's yeah. Let me just run that by while I shoot the breeze while that runs. So it's going through right now. The gist of the program. This part here, I know what it's doing for the most part. Everything is what it was designed to do. It generates waybills, and then it goes in. It's already scanning those waybills. I don't know if it's doing the random part just yet. I can't remember. I don't know if it's doing it that. I think it is, because it's counting awfully slow if it is, and that's a lot of waybills. But it brings in all those waybills. And a waybill is basically a call for a car to go from one location to another. So it calls up all those waybills, and then from there, boy, it's going to take a long time to get to there. Okay, while it's taking its time to get to there, going back to the whole spawning the thing, what it has to do is it has to get it so that track section, so I don't have those nodes like the 1 and the 0. I can't have the 1s. If it has the 1s in, RTS does not know how that works, so it automatically puts a 0 in. And in the past, I would be able to find particular track sections. Mostly they were always track sections that ended at the end of a main. So when Bakersfield was always a bit of an issue, at least BNSF was. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that... Needles has never really been an issue for me. Cajon is short, believe it or not. That's something it'll be interesting once version 2 comes, because the route will get extended, so that'll be interesting. The Yuma sub is actually good. It's a very long stretch, so I can generate very long trains. Coming out of the other way, if anything's coming from Los Angeles, it is a pain. Like, there's no room. If you look at West Colton, there's nowhere to really spawn a train if you're coming into West Colton, because you've got like a little bit of stub of track. And then you go over to A-Line. A-Line's pretty good. They've extended some of the tracks. I know, trying to think now. Jason, he was pretty receptive to, wanting to know what I needed. I think Mikey as well for his route. So they were kind of receptive to understanding what I was looking for in a way. They were just, out of curiosity, they wanted to know what I had coming up, and if there was a certain... I'm not saying that they were rotating their development over my needs. That's far from the case. But it was nice of them I mean, a lot of them asked, and a lot of them were very curious and supportive of what I was doing. So, as you can see how long this takes, it takes a while to generate waybills. And then once you get up to it, and we're just about here now, it'll scan all the waybills. I think it's done all the random calls. So you got 7,979 waybills. It's basically calling a random number between 1 and 7,979, 7,979 times. That's how it's doing it. And by doing that, it tabulates how many cars it needs for each particular waybill. Now what it's doing is it's assigning those car types, and it's giving the weights, and you can see the numbers are coming across, and that's for each train. So now it's assigning the trains. It's actually setting up the building blocks for what the train's going to look like. how it's going to be configured as far as what kind of engines is it going to need, how many engines it's going to need. So it's all about that HPT/unit variable that's coming out. You can see some of them are like way off, and some of them are higher than others, depending upon what they are. But so HPT per unit, then it knows how many units it's going to need. So we got, I think, about 200 trains. So it's at like 118. So it's done the waybill section. Now it's going through the potential engines. So it's scanning all the various HPT codes and how many engines it's going to need to meet the HPT requirements. And then it goes ahead and generates the trains, and just like that, it's done. Now, the thing about that, and I'm going to end this real soon because it's getting late, but the thing about all that, what you just saw took, what about me rambling about for 5 minutes? What I'd like to do, assuming, depending upon how AI works and all that other crap that we don't know about yet, you're assuming 24/7 potential server. Maybe you have enough dispatchers to run 24/7 non-stop, have all the dispatchers and simply able to constantly run, let's say 7 days worth of maybe 30 days or 31 days. Actually, I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking, yeah, well, maybe I should put 31 days in. Not worry about the frequencies, just put them in and see how it goes. Or at the very least, I want to put 7. And what I would do in that case is I would replace the see, this today's day of the month is 21. What that does is it adds the -21 to the end of each train, so it gives it its own unique ID. What I was thinking about doing was replacing that and have the program go through a cycle of potentially the frequency, actually go through multiple frequencies, because I know A-Line has it set up for the frequencies. And so what I was going to get it to do is actually generate 7 days worth, potentially, multiple frequencies. So what that would happen is there'd be an option in here in the generate screen. It would ask you, you know, what frequencies you want, or what series of frequencies you want to do. I don't know. I'm just not exactly sure. I think you would have to specify every time. You'd have to specify like MO or TU or WE or whatever. But then it would be able to go in and actually generate those files. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. But the idea there is, if you were running on a 24/7 server, or even something that's going to take you maybe 3 weeks. I mean, for California, I mean, we're talking 48 days just to go through 24 hours. So you could really be generating lots of days. But let's say it takes you a few days, or 7 days, or 10 days to go through a whole 24-hour period. Then you've got 2 months worth of data, and it'll call it up, and you won't have to worry about generating at midnight. You won't have to worry about changing the uploading a new set of files either, because everything will be there, assuming AI is going to spawn itself. So I don't know what's going on with that. So, but yeah, once you end the program here, I'll just show you that. I'm pretty sure I've shown this before, and like I said, I'm going to stop rambling, but. I don't know what tag does. Let's see. Oh, that's scary. You mean the tag's off? The tag procedure still works? I don't even know what it's doing. Oh, it's running the tags. Never mind. I was going to run the integer. That's what I meant to do. So the tags are a little bit smaller, and all the tags do. They use the same premises. The tag function works perfectly fine. It works totally as designed. I'd like to get the randomization just a little bit better. What I do is I The reason why it runs so slow is it has to, and see there it is, it just went through, and then you just copy and paste it to a spreadsheet and you're done. Let me go one more time through this and I'll show you what else this software does, or actually what it used to do. I don't know if it still works. We used to have something called integer. I bet you it'll crash. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. Oh, it ran a bunch of inside Z loop, and I don't know what it did. I gotta get rid of that code though, because we don't use interchanges. INT, what that used to do is it used to run. I think it used to generate an interchange or something. It's been so long. It's been over 2 years. I think it's been about a year or two at least. So, anyways, but I'll get rid of that code because I don't think anybody uses it, and I haven't supported it for a long time, anyways. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to end this now for tonight. And if you have any questions or comments, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. And hopefully, I'll get at it tonight, maybe as early as tomorrow, and go through the code and clean it up a little bit, and maybe I'll add some other features to make the program a little bit more cleaner code-wise, and possibly put in a few other features. I might post a message before I go to bed tonight, actually, just to say, you know, if there's any features you guys are looking for, just let me know, and I'll deal with them tomorrow. And I'll talk to you next time. See you.